I'm going to be reviewing A Little Life by Yanha something. I had no idea who the author is. I didn't even know it's a woman. And that's actually a good thing because I tend to kind of judge women writers. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's just that I prefer male writers over women writers. I relate to their love more. I relate to their feelings more. I relate to their writing about men generally more. However, this book is a complete departure from any such preconceived notion I had in my mind, and I thought she wrote very well. And the story revolves around four friends, as you may or may not know, and I think it's based in New York and Cambridge and Boston, and the four friends are very different kind of guys, of course, but they are not. They are kind of innocuous. They are kind of ordinary, despite having a lot of things going for them. When I say ordinary, I don't. I mean they're not larger than life characters who are so funny. Oh my God, I want to remember this character. They're not your young adult fiction kind of characters. Like this is not Looking for Alaska. This is not Catcher in the Rye. I'm sorry, Catcher in the Rye is not young adult fiction. It's a book everyone must read. It's a classic. It's a cult classic. Back to A Little Life. I read this because I saw a lot of dramatic reviews talking about this book, and the reviews always said that this is a very sad book. And I've been looking for sadness and misery because I think I love such emotions that are very conflicting to one's own circumstance in the general status quo in life. So this book, is it sad? Yes. Will it break you? Yes. Was I broken? Yes. Did I cry? I mean, I almost teared up towards the end. And there were times in the book where I couldn't believe what I was reading, and I felt quite bad for the character or the characters. And it's told from the point of view of one guy named Jude. For half of the book, or 30% of the book, I thought Jude was black. The author doesn't give a lot of references to skin color, and sometimes she does it, but sometimes you just forget. So it took me halfway, almost halfway through, I realized that he's not black, he's a white guy. So I had to, uh, you know, kind of change him in my brain. I couldn't have any face associated with the character, no matter how hard I tried. I kept forgetting who's straight and who's gay, and sometimes I was a bit irritated by how many gay characters the book has. And the reason for my irritation is not because I'm a homophobe, not a homophobe. The reason for my irritation was the fact that it was so zabardasti. It was so forced. Like, for example, you go to a party and then there is a guy and the boyfriend. And it's just at this point, it's just like so in your face how it's so normal, for someone to have a boyfriend, for a guy to have a boyfriend, and a girl to have a partner. I don't know. I didn't like that self-assured normalcy in that. I found it quite fake, and I just kind of that was one of the few things I didn't like about the book. Besides the fact that I couldn't tell which character is which, and I had to reassess their skin color, their sexual orientation, despite the fact that they are central characters. You would imagine she would go into saying that. And now that the book is over, obviously I know who is what and who is what, but I was very confused. I'm not going to talk about the characters. I'm just going to tell you that some of them have very miserable pasts, and I recommend this for all people. I don't think you should, limit yourself to the fact that, oh my God, you know what? I can't read a sad book, or I'm going to be sad forever, or I'm not in the mood to read a sad book. Don't be that person. Those people are really stupid, you know. So don't be that person. Now, what I loved about the book, let's talk about that. I loved, I didn't like any of the characters, mind you. I didn't like any of them, but yes, by the time I was 70% into the book, I couldn't help but notice how amazing it got. And that's what I love. I love it when books actually raise the bar and you are halfway into it and the stories and the recollections and the sorrow. And despite the fact that the book is so bloody long, I finished the book in 3 days. And the day I finished it, I read for about 8 to 10 hours in a single day. So you can imagine how badly I wanted to finish it because I was so curious about what will happen with the characters, and so should you be when you read this book. And all in all, I felt that the book really does go into a lot of places, and mostly it's told from the point of view of Jude, and sometimes it's told from the point of view of Willem and Malcolm and JB. So yeah, and I like the references of art. I like the references of architecture sometimes, but the book is mostly about nostalgia and about bad memories and how it changes a person. The book has a lot to do with depression and how it's so deep rooted that no matter what, you can't get rid of it. There's a lot of self infliction of harm in this book. There's a lot of blood at times. Um, and all in all, I really liked the book, man. I I want to give it full 5 stars, and I think it's one of the best books I've ever read. And it might just be among the top 50 books I've read of the 300 or so. Maybe I've read 250 to 300 books, and this might be in the top 50 of them. And I don't see myself ever recommending this book to anybody I know, because I know they are too, not to hate on people I know, but how do I say, they're too much in their cocoon in life, to bother to look into somebody else's. I think there's an empathy that comes with reading, and I don't think people who are so self-involved can ever get into reading a book such as this. And people I know are so self-involved that they only read non-fictions because they feel, oh, non-fictions can help us. I don't know, man. I feel when heaven or hell is decided, I know where they are going. Anyways, I'm such a hater sometimes. I'm sorry. So, right. So, a lot of good things about the book. The writing is absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. She's written one more book. I'm not going to read it. And I'm never going to reread this book. I will forget the book as time goes on. And can you finish this in 3, 4 days? If you're a curious guy or girl, you can, and I suggest you do. I read this on my Kindle. I purchased it. I'm happy to say I purchased it. And it was very helpful to have the X-ray option, because when you have so many characters and writing that is so disinterested in letting you know what's going on, it's always good to rely on X-ray, so you can read when the character is introduced and what he said and where he was in the past, and it gives you a little bit of that. It is somewhat helpful. If I was reading a paperback of this, I'd be very confused. So I strongly recommend the Kindle. I don't recommend the audiobook at all because I didn't read the audiobook. And if you're a curious guy, you can definitely finish this book. So 5 stars for the writing, 5 stars for the book, 4 stars for the story. And overall, I really think this is worth your investment of time. A lot of you will come away from this book saying, oh my God, what did I just read? I mean, some of you may come away like that. But if you value your time a lot in life, I suggest you look elsewhere. If you have some empathy in your heart, then I suggest you read this book. Okay, weird review, but there you go. Here's my book review for A Little Life by you know who. And similar books, I would say I would recommend a book called Sacred History or The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Again, a female author who has written an amazing book. I don't know if I did a review for that. Either way, thank you for watching. Bye. I don't do a lot of book reviews, but I intend to do a 24-hour reading marathon. and I'll be surprised if I can do that without having modafinil, but I'm going to attempt it anyway. If I can read for 8 hours or 10 hours or 11 hours in a day, like I do nowadays, I'm pretty sure I can read for 24 hours without sleeping also. So I'm going to do that one of these days. I'm just going to read for 24 hours straight. And if sleep comes, it'll come and I'll wake up and I'll be honest about the whole thing. So please subscribe, guys. That's what I wanted to say.